All right, please join me for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Lord of the universe, creator and sustainer of all that is or will ever be, accept our thanks for this day and all its blessings. We ask that you guide and direct our club, its leaders, and our actions. Grant that each of us may feel our responsibility to Rotary, to our community, to our country, and indeed to all countries and peoples. Bless our fellowship today and bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies in your service. Amen. Okay, Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's so good to be here with all of you. It's my honor and privilege to be able to introduce those guests that are with us today. I'd like to have you wave your hand or stand as I mention your name, and we'll wait and applaud afterward. Welcome to Carrie White, our guest, who is also with our visitor, Ryan Thackeray. Michael Oliver is a guest of the club. Michael, good to have you with us. And then David Goff is our visiting Rotarian today from Winchester, Virginia. Join me in welcoming everyone.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure today for us to recognize two Paul Harris Fellows. That's always an exciting time for a club. Just a quick reminder, Rotary Foundation is our charity of choice as Rotarians, and it's our way to come together collectively, pool our time, our talent, and our financial resources for doing good in the world. Quick advertisement for our foundation celebration coming up Friday, December 1st at the Greenville Marriott. Easy drive for people in Greenville. It's right near the interstate and just a few miles from everybody's house in here. So I'd like to see a bunch of you there, and there will be a special recognition that night of Terry and Pam Weaver for something that's going to be outstanding for our club and our district in terms of their support of the Rotary Foundation. So I hope you're there for that and for the foundation dinner. Rotary Foundation started in 1957 with something called the Paul Harris Fellow. Paul Harris, as most of you know, founder of Rotary, 1905, and it recognizes people who show a commitment to the Rotary Foundation through their own financial resources and possibly a combination of other people helping them get a Paul Harris Fellow. So I have two to recognize today, starting with Jack Clayton, who is getting his Paul Harris Fellow +1. Paul Harris Fellows are measured in 1,000 increments, and so +1 is 2, or either $2,000 or $2,000 and or recognition points. And Club President Lisa is going to hand that out to him. And then next one is quite an honor. Charles Little Jr. is getting his Paul Harris +7 today. That's worth a round of applause right there. So thank you to everyone who gives to the Rotary Foundation, and a special thanks to those being recognized today, Jack and Charles, for leveling up to the next level for Paul Harris Fellow. December 1st, hope to see you at Greenville Marriott. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Penny Robbins. I'm your membership chair. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing, I thought 2 Red Badgers today, but it's going to be 1. I don't see Shannon and Terrell didn't make it today, darn. Sam Hall, would you like to come up here and introduce yourself to this group of Rotarians? Thank you so much.
My name's Sam Hall. I'm the managing editor of the Post and Courier based here in Greenville. They said keep it to 90 seconds. I'll only be closer to 9, but we moved here just about two and a half months ago from Mississippi. So my wife, and 3 children. So we live in Simpsonville. My kids are at Hillcrest, and so far we're just really enjoying it here. It's been a busy couple of months. I think I actually joined a couple of weeks after I started. I did one Zoom meeting, and this is my first in-person meeting. So hopefully I'll get into a better cycle there. But I'm very happy to be here. Nice to meet everyone.
And just so you know, if you're a Red Badger, I will get to you and you will be up here with your 90 minutes of fame, 90 seconds of fame as well. Okay, thanks.
Good afternoon. I am Christine Amin, and I have the pleasure today of talking about something fun. And it's not Kringle Holiday Village. Sorry. So, twice a year, in the fall and in the spring, we have a Rotary social. And it is not a meeting. We don't have speakers. We have fun. We have some food and adult beverages. And we just try to do something interesting. And so we have the fall social that's coming up on November the 1st. Okay, you may have seen somewhere that it was November the 2nd, but it has been moved to November 1st, November 1. Easy to remember, 11/1. Very easy. Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, so we have a social committee and we bounce around a lot of different ideas. So in the past, as a lot of you know, we had the last one, we did bowling, a lot of fun at spare time. Before that, we had trivia night at Ink and Ivy. And I don't actually recall what we did before that, but both of those 2 events were extremely popular. Everybody had a lot of fun. The food was great. Drinks were great. So we've been bouncing around ideas, and we have talked about this particular idea for probably a couple of years now, I think. And finally, we decided to do it. So we are going to meet on November 1st at 5:30 at Center Stage. And we're going to have some mingling. We're going to have some food. We're going to have some adult beverages. And then we're going to watch the play. The play is called 4 Seasons. And why did we decide to do this? Well, we just thought it would be a great opportunity for us to, one, support the arts, do something interesting together. And also, Laura, who is the executive director at Center Stage, is a fairly new member of our Rotary Club. So it's a great way to support her also. I don't see her here today, unfortunately, but I'm sure that they're busy getting ready for this play. So November 1st, 5:30 to 7:15, we're going to be mingling. And then the play starts at 7:30. You don't have to stay for the play if you don't want to. I know some of you go to bed very early. However, I would really encourage you to at least stay until intermission. And I think it'll be a really great evening for all of us. So I initially said that I had seen it, but then I read the description. I think that this one might be a little bit different. So I'm not going to say that I've actually seen it, but I have never seen anything at Center Stage. And tell me, raise your hand if you've gone to Center Stage to see a show. Have you ever seen anything bad there? I mean, all their shows are incredible. And Roger wanted to say something too. Yes, you can bring your spouse, and your spouse is free. We have gotten our budget under control, and so you can not only bring your spouse, but you don't have to pay for your spouse. Or you can bring a guest if you don't have a spouse. Who doesn't? No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So bring your spouse, bring your girlfriend. Don't bring your girlfriend with your spouse. Bad idea. No, there will not be a regular meeting at noon. Well, wait a minute. Are you talking? So this is on a Wednesday? November 1st is on a Wednesday? And it's not a meeting week anyway. But that's a good question. So a lot of times we do substitute the social for a meeting, but we're not doing that this time. It's not a substitute. It's an addition. It's extra. You get extra Rotary for nothing. What a deal. What a deal. Any other questions about this? Let's see, spouses. I don't think I would bring children to this. Okay, this will substitute for Thirsty Thursday though. Okay. Yeah. So, anything else? Okay, I'm getting the cutoff from Roger. Gotta go. Lisa said I gotta go.
And speaking of symphonic music, it is my pleasure to introduce Jessica Satava. Jessica was hired by the Greenville Symphony Board in the summer of 2022 after an extensive nationwide search. She came to us from the Johnstown, Pennsylvania Symphony, where she had been executive director since 2019. Before that job, she had worked in artistic and operations for the Peabody Institute at Johns Hopkins University, for the famous Aspen Music Festival and School, and in fundraising for the Enoch Pratt Free Library in Baltimore. While working for Peabody, she produced Bernstein's Mass in the composer's centennial year. It was the largest production ever undertaken in the 161-year history of Peabody. Jessica has a master's in music from the Peabody Institute, where she still teaches grant writing, and a BS in music performance from Bethel University. She has received management training from the Carey School of Business and the League of American Orchestras. As a board member, I can say that I was thrilled that we were able to find, then recruit someone with her credentials. She came as we were beginning our 75th anniversary season for the symphony, and she used that season to get to know the community. She has also done a great job of getting everyone on the same page, which is critical, since the board is seeking a new music director to replace the iconic Edvard Schietzel. And finally, the quality of the outbound materials, some of which is on your tables, the impact statement, the program, the community and education engagement materials. They're all superb. And this year is a year like no other. The Symphony had 160 applications for the position of music director, and a selection committee narrowed it down to 6 candidates, each of whom are conducting their own Masterworks concert this year. We had the second candidate last weekend, and I'll let Jessica tell you about the 4,000 students and the 2,000 people that heard him this weekend. It's her job to work with each candidate, introduce them to the city, the schools, and the orchestra, and it is one huge job. Her bio on the Peabody website begins, Jessica Satava is a passionate advocate for the power of symphonic music to activate and unite communities. She's had a great start to do that in Greenville. Please join me in welcoming Jessica Satava.
Wow, what an honor. Thank you so much, George. It's incredible to have a board full of people like George who care so much about our community and understand the transformational power of music. What a pleasure it is to look out across this crowd of business luminaries in our community and feel like I have so many friends already after only 1 year in Greenville. That is incredible. I have felt so welcomed by this community, and I'm just grateful to all of you for inviting me to participate today. So is it okay if I walk around a little bit? Okay. I'm always more comfortable if I can kind of step out and talk to all of you, do a little freestyle. You know what I mean? So what George was sharing with you earlier, we're going to start just with this picture right here. This past week on Friday, the event that you see here was happening in our concert hall. Our orchestra, this is our principal cellist, Seth, right over here. Our orchestra performed for thousands of kids in the concert hall, totally free of charge. We paid for the buses for the Title I schools, and we just made it an absolute priority to ensure that there were no barriers to students attending these transformational concerts. So without further ado, let's get into it. And hopefully we'll have a little time to answer questions and things later. All right, awesome. So the Greenville Symphony started with a note on a music store bulletin board in 1948. That was almost 76 years ago now. And with that small note grew a multi-million-dollar performing arts organization with 67 professional musicians whose artistry and livelihood are supported by this community. How incredible is that? That is truly something to be proud of. The Greenville Symphony's vision and mission is, we are an educational and cultural ambassador for Greenville and for South Carolina, and we are a resource that builds community by providing excellence in live musical performance, educating minds, and engaging our community through the unifying power of music. Okay, so we're about to get a little nerdy here, because the thing that I actually asked Connie to help me earlier, because I could talk about music all day. It's my very favorite thing. And so she's going to have to give me the high sign when it's about time for me to stop talking. Okay. All right, here we go. So can you believe that 1448 was the year the first orchestra started? That's a long time ago, people. Anybody know what that orchestra is? And Rob, you're not allowed to answer, and neither is Bob Howard, because he's seen this too. Anybody know what the first orchestra was? Royal Danish Orchestra, and people, they are still playing. They are over there and they are still playing. How cool is that? 1842, the first orchestra in the United States. Anyone want to take a guess at what that one was? New York. Yes, who said New York? Kendra, of course you knew that. Of course you knew that. That was really good. Yes. So, and it's very cool, because if you go to a concert at the New York Philharmonic, they, in their program, list under each piece that they play how many times they've played it in their history. So if you see them perform Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, it'll say like, this is the 175th time that the New York Philharmonic has performed this symphony. It's very cool. But isn't it interesting to see that, you know, our country wasn't founded that much before 1842. We got off to a very strong start. Music was part of our country's heritage from the very beginning. 1948, the Greenville Symphony was formed. Then in 1997, now this is one that always surprises people, the Vienna Philharmonic admits its first woman member. Is that a little surprising to all of y'all? Okay, so the United States of America, we were having a similar challenge. I think it was the late 60s that the universities and the conservatories of music looked around and said, you know what, we have a lot of very talented women musicians being graduated from these institutions. We have extraordinary women faculty members. Why aren't there any women in our orchestras? So they decided to try an experiment, and that was to have blind auditions. In other words, they would put up a screen very much like this, and all auditions would take place behind the screen so that you couldn't see or identify anything about the person. And suddenly, about 25 years later, there had been meaningful change in the orchestra world, and now at least half of orchestra musicians in the United States are women. So that's a fun trivia fact you can chat about at cocktails tonight, okay, everybody? All right, awesome. Then there are 1,500 orchestras in the United States of America. And did you know that your Greenville Symphony is in the top 5% of budget sizes for orchestras? The orchestra in this community is in the top 5% of the utter generosity with which the community supports the Greenville Symphony. And I think that's something really special. It certainly stood out to me as I was considering this opportunity and the commitment that this community has shown its artists, not just symphony musicians, but theater and visual arts and dance. It's incredible, and I'm so grateful to be part of what's happening here. We have 67 professional musicians in the Greenville Symphony. It requires 32 hours of on-site rehearsal to prepare a 2-concert series of performances. And that doesn't include the hours and hours that the musicians prepare on their own before they even show up. So I think that's a pretty incredible number. Now this one, does the 30% of expenses are covered by ticket sales surprise you at all as business leaders? Yeah, some of you are shaking your heads. It's kind of hard to believe, isn't it, that what you pay for your ticket, and they're not all cheap. We always have a $20 ticket to our concerts, but some of them get a little bit more expensive and you start to think, wow. But that really doesn't cover everything that happens at the orchestra. And that's why having generous people like you and the incredible volunteers of this community and everyone who comes together to make our orchestra possible are so important to our survival and our livelihood. So thank you so much for that. Okay, did anybody learn anything yet that they're a little surprised by? Any eye-openers here? Okay, Kendra did. All right. Bob, you know all this already. You saw this one. Okay. Now, this is a slide I really love because it shows the true impact of the arts in our community. And this is important to all of you as business leaders to see that over 100,000 jobs are supported by our industries, and so much money is flowing into our state because of the arts. And the importance of the arts specifically in this community cannot be understated. I know you all have seen the impact studies with the Peace Center, our landlords, those who host us there in that gorgeous venue. 1.6 billion, I think, was the number that was published. It's just incredible. Can you imagine us without that incredible resource? Unbelievable. Helping creatives contribute economically is the nexus of arts education and artist development. It makes South Carolina competitive. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about our stats at the Symphony. So it looks like we're sliding off the edge there just a little bit, but GSO musicians provide programming, free programming to all 52 elementary schools in Greenville County. Our musicians are going out into the community every single week. You should see my calendar. It's populated with the percussion is going out to this school this day. The strings are going out to this school this day. And the next day, the woodwinds are going. It's so exciting because the kids really have a chance to see all the different instruments of the orchestra and the ensembles that are created by them. And they have the opportunity to experience them before it's time for them to choose what they're going to do in middle school, right? Before it's time for them to elect whether they'll do band or orchestra, what that's going to look like for them. So they really have an opportunity to see that. And then the great news is we follow it up with the free field trip to the Peace Center so that they've seen the orchestra components in smaller groups in their schools with interactive programming that's created just for them. Then we bring them to the Peace Center. It's so incredible because for most of them, it's the first time they've ever been there before. And some of them have never even been downtown. So they come, seeing their faces when they walk in the door, it's like, this is the Peace Center. I wish you all could be there to overhear them as they walk through the door. So it's so cool that they get to see the different parts and the components of the orchestra. Then they come in and they experience the full power of the symphony orchestra on stage at the Peace Center. It's a transformational moment for so many of them, and I'm so excited to share this incredible number with you. 25,000 people are reached every year with our free music programming at the Greenville Symphony. We're very proud of that. Now, this is the really fun part, and you guys are, those of you that are really paying attention are going to notice there's a discrepancy between my 40% here and my 30% earlier, but I'll explain all that in just a second. Symphony stats. We have a really unique business model in the orchestra business. And it is that the executive director and the artistic director work together as partners, as equal partners, reporting to the board of 32 people. That's a lot of bosses. Yeah, it is. Are any of you seeing this now and considering maybe changing your own organizational structure to, does it sound like a good idea to you? Yeah, I don't blame you. It can get a little complicated, can it, Bob? Bob can back me up on this. He has done my job, and I'm so lucky to have a person like him that I can call when I have questions. Let's put it that way. Yes. What would I do without him? So 40% is where we are. So 30% was where we were. This season, things are growing at such an incredible rate that our ticket sales are beginning to do even better for us, to inch us up to that 40% mark. That's what's in the budget, and that's what we're hoping to reach this year. So it's a very unique business model, a blend of ticket sales and donations, so many volunteers from the community that have leadership roles, in addition to the paid staff, the music director and the executive director, and then all of the rest of us in the office. There are 8 of us in the office that support the orchestra. We have 11 salaried musicians, so the principals of the orchestra work. They're the ones that are going out to schools every day and performing for students, and also leading the sections of the orchestra that you'll see on stage. So they're kind of our core artists of the orchestra. Then, of course, there's the remaining of the 67. So there's lots of mouths to feed in an orchestra, lots of interests, lots of stakeholders, and that will become important as you see what we're doing next. But before I go on to this big thing that we've undertaken for this season, I want to share with you that because of the impact of the Greenville Symphony, our kids are doing better in school. You all have seen the statistics that students who have engagement with music test a grade level higher than other kids. Employee recruitment and retention, talk to any of the big companies in town. Well, you're part of the big companies in town. And I would venture to guess that as you're recruiting people from out of town and from larger markets, you're talking about the incredible art scene we have here and the amenities in Greenville and the quality of life and the incredible symphony orchestra we have full of professional musicians who are bringing the best classical musicians and artists to the stage. We're also bringing people together in a non-partisan environment. This is a place where people can sit, you turn your phone off, and you can simply let the music refresh and restore you. What an incredible thing that is, to sit in a place where nobody's talking to you, no one's asking you for anything. You don't have to look at your screen. In fact, we ask you not to look at your screen. And for 2 hours, it's just you and your imagination and the healing, restorative vibration of the music as you sit and are bonded with your community in that experience. What an incredible thing it is. I feel very fortunate every single day to be part of providing that for folks. Now, this is the part that gets me all excited. The Symphony Orchestra here in Greenville is collaborating and innovating in a way that is just incredibly exciting to make music accessible for even more people in our community. Just this past weekend, a couple of you were there. Bob Morris was there, George Fletcher was there, Pam Weaver was there. We collaborated with a beatboxer to present the first ever concerto for beatbox and orchestra on stage at the Peace Center. It was a 25-minute piece. This gentleman right up here, Chris Stiles-Bacon, was our soloist, and an interactive, kid-friendly version of that was presented to the kids, the thousands of kids in the Peace Center on Friday morning. 2 shows, and the joyful screams of the students were so loud, so deafening, that the musicians had to put earplugs in. They were worried about hearing loss, people. Can you imagine a thing like that? So the response that we've had to this has been incredible. In fact, I'm going to read something from my friends at USC Upstate, because they brought a group of students on Sunday, and I want you to hear what they had to say. I am writing to thank you, Jessica, for bringing Chris Stiles Bacon to Greenville. And Chris Stiles is that gentleman up there in the white coat. I brought 15 of my college students to the performance this past Saturday night. None of these students have ever been to a symphony, and very few of them have ever seen a live performance at the Peace Center. If the Greenville Symphony's goal is to broaden their audience and hopefully cultivate a new appreciation for the symphony, then I believe your organization has accomplished that by this past Saturday's performer. Throughout the performance, my students were engaged and enthusiastic, which for college students is no small feat, and could not stop talking about their experiences on the ride back to campus. Their ability to combine a traditional symphony with contemporary music that a much younger and more diverse audience can relate to and appreciate is something that the upstate region of South Carolina has truly needed. Those are the kind of letters that make my whole week, month, year. So that's what we're doing. We're also playing some movie music. You know, we had 92% of our audiences for Harry Potter last year had never been to a symphony orchestra concert. How cool is that? So they were in the hall watching this movie, experiencing the power of their Greenville Symphony right there in front of them. For Holiday at Peace this year, we're collaborating with a local young lady, Ansley Burns. Do any of you know about Ansley? Ansley's a country singer. She's 16 years old. She's been on The Voice and American Idol, and she's going to be on stage with the Greenville Symphony in Holiday at Peace. So I'm really excited to present her. I think you all are going to enjoy her. She's fabulous. We also work closely with our arts partners, like our friends at the South Carolina Children's Theater and so many of the other arts organizations in town. We're very proud of our work to bring all of us together and present things that are better. With the more people we can get involved, we know that the better it will be. And here's what else. So you heard probably that our amazing maestro, Edvard Chivjal, has transitioned to music director emeritus this year. He'll be with us. In fact, he will be conducting Holiday at Peace. We're really excited to have him back. And we are now embarking on a search for the next artistic leader of the Greenville Symphony. So another thing that you might want to consider putting into practice for your hiring in your businesses coming up that symphony orchestras are doing these days is a very, very public search. So 6 conductors, 6 experiences, you're invited. Come on out and check out all of the candidates for our search. So what we've done is included all the subscribers to the symphony in the opportunity to help us choose, to help us make the decision. And it has been such an exciting thing to see how many people are excited to be on board and part of this decision-making process. We're having a really fun time. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. This is the one that was, oh my goodness, sorry guys. Can you tell I'm an opera singer? I'm not really good with a mic. I was used to projecting without one, but now I have. Anyway, okay, so John Devlin was our conductor this past week. And was that my 5 minutes? Thank you so much. He presented this Migrations of Rhythm, the concerto for beatbox and rhyme on stage this year. So what we asked all of these conductors to do, we said, hey guys, we need you to present a piece that everyone would recognize who is part of our core audience. We want a really classical, traditional piece. And then we'd like you to bring us something we've never heard before. Throw something in that's really different. Surprise us. So surprise us, he did. We had our first beatbox concerto ever, and he paired it with Dmitri Shostakovich's 5th Symphony, which is well-loved by our symphony audiences, thanks to Maestro Chivjal and his excellence. So that's John. Then we've got Lee coming in next month on the 11th and the 12th. You will have the opportunity to see this young conductor. He has Simone Porter, the nationally famous violinist, coming in to play Philip Glass's first violin concerto, which is a very fun one. and my favorite composer, Robert Schumann. So anybody ever heard of Robert Schumann? A couple of you have. Yes, awesome. This is a very unique program, and this man suffered severely from mental illness. And this symphony is the story of his struggle with that and ultimate triumph. Then we have Jana coming in. She's going to conduct in January. She has a very, very eclectic program, but I think the highlight of this program is the Saint-Saëns Cello Concerto. Those of you that love cello, this is a classic piece. It's melodic, it's beautiful. I'm so excited for you all to hear it. Then we've got Wesley. Wesley's fabulous, and you know what Wesley's going to do is he's going to conduct Berlioz's Symphonie Fantastique, which is just totally wild. This piece is insane. There's a bell in it, a huge bell, like a Liberty Bell. It's crazy. And Wynton Marsalis. Did you know Wynton Marsalis, the jazz legend, wrote a violin concerto? Well, he did in 2016, and we are going to play it. So I'm really excited for you to hear that. Yaniv Attar is coming in to conduct the classic Pictures at an Exhibition. If you haven't heard this piece, you actually have heard this piece. If you think you haven't, you have. You will recognize so many of the themes in this piece. It is so much fun. It's so big. It's a wonderful way to end our season. Then in the Gunter Theater, we're presenting conductors that are musicians from around town. You may know some of these folks. Many of you studied with Gary Malvern at Furman University. Some of you might have been in youth orchestra with Gary Robinson. Thomas Joyner may have been your orchestra conductor at one time or another. And Leslie Hicken has a history with bands here in Greenville County. So we're excited to present all of them in Gunter Theater, really showcasing the local talent. Then, of course, we have another Harry Potter series of shows coming up, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Get your tickets soon because it's almost sold out, and it's in January, so it's a really great gift. Then Holiday at Peace. We have our girl Ansley. She's going to be performing with us. We have a fabulous jazz singer named Shayna Steele. We'll have the Greenville Youth Chorale on stage with us, as well as the dancers from the International Ballet. And our maestro, Edvard Chivjel, will be conducting. Then we love dropping music into places you would never expect it to be. So we're going to be doing Music in the Woods at Paris Mountain State Park. We're going to do a little jazz over at Fire Forge Brewing. We're going to show up at Project Host during lunch service, and we're also going to be part of their market. Our musicians will be there. We're going to just play a little at the Coffee House on February 6th, and then, of course, we'll do some music pairing with your artwork at the Greenville County Art Museum. And you can find details about all of this on our website. So if you'd like to show up for one of these awesome free events, you absolutely can. And that, my friends, is my Greenville Symphony. I'm so grateful to be part of what's happening there. We have programs for young professionals. We have endless free opportunities for kids, from preschool all the way up through high school, and you have lots of brochures on your tables to help you get to know us a little better and to find out more. What questions do you have for me? Oh, Rob, okay, I'm gonna get, yes, you first, and then this lovely lady back there. I was a singer, yes. No. No, it's interesting, isn't it, how once you start running an orchestra, you just don't have time to practice anymore. No, I can't. Ma'am. Thank you so much for that. I think what the point you're making is a really interesting one, isn't it? You know, I'll never apologize for Beethoven and Tchaikovsky. I think they're brilliant, and they've lasted for hundreds of years for a very good reason. But we owe it to our art form to figure out now and start presenting on stage the things that will be the masterpieces of the next 200 or 300 years, right? So I think mixing those things in makes sense. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Who else has did I see another hand? Anyone else have a question for me? Thank you so much for asking that. Okay, yes, because, all right. So this is such a great question that you asked, because I think that what I did here that was not cool was I assumed that everybody knows what a conductor actually does. So the conductor is, I have so many stories that I could tell you guys, but I'm not going to go there. All right, so the conductor is responsible for keeping at its very most basic, intrinsic level. Conductor's responsible for keeping everybody together. But as the ensemble grows and becomes truly an ensemble of artists, like the Greenville Symphony is, thanks to Edvard Chivjal, that's when you need someone who can provide an overarching artistic vision for the ensemble, who can start to hone the sound of each of the parts of the orchestra and can bring them together into something that becomes truly unique to that city's identity, right? You'll hear people talking about the Philadelphia orchestra sound. You'll hear them talking about the Chicago Symphony sound. They were famous for their brass for many years. So the Greenville Symphony has a unique and wonderful sound because of the artistic vision of Edvard Chivjal. And so that's going to be some pretty big shoes to fill, right? We have a big task ahead of us. So we need someone who can set that artistic vision for us, plan the programming for the entire year, and that's what the conductor does as well. But in the rehearsal, it's such a complex job because they're listening. They have very finely honed listening skills, and they can hear the smallest discrepancy of a note within a section in the violins or the brass. And it's their job to correct that thing, ask them to tune it, tweak it. They're setting the tempo to make sure the transitions and the traffic patterns are working together well. And often they create the concept for the concert at large, right? So if you see lighting cues, different lights, different spot, like lots of the creative aspects of the concert are set by the conductor. So not only do we need them to keep us together, we need them to create something beautiful and inspiring out of black and white notes on a page. Yes. You know, I think that is an area of absolutely exciting opportunity. And I'm already thinking about what we might be able to do next year. The problem is y'all have a lot of football games. So we're always trying to avoid those. Anyway, no, but I love that. Can we talk later about that opportunity? Are you with Clemson? Are you with Clemson? Mm-hmm. Okay, then you're with Clemson. Yes, I love it. Anyone else have a question? Oh, sorry. Yes. So that's a great question. Thank you. So the private schools are invited to our children's concerts at the Peace Center. And in fact, many of them were there on Friday. We also invite homeschoolers. And they are a very robust group of supporters of the orchestra. That's been great. We did a camp this summer for a private school, which was really fun. We did lots of camps this summer. The musicians took their music and literacy programming out to various camps throughout the summer. So yes, we focus on the Greenville County Schools for Our EdReach program, which is the one where we go to all 52 elementary schools in Greenville County. But I think an area of opportunity is really to expand to the private schools. That would be a great next step for us. Thank you, Elizabeth. Yes. Okay. Oh, I have to stop now. Thank you. Thank you. What a pleasure. Thank you so much.
So you thought you were going to get away without a Kringle minute. So I'm Mike Sarvis. I'm the sponsorship co-chair this year along with Jane. Want to give you a real quick update on the sponsorship activity and a big ask as well. First, would like to thank Stacy Lamonaco, new member, and Matthew Johnson for jumping in to help us in our efforts. Our budget this year is $70,000. Hopefully tying up a couple of things this week that'll get us right at 50% of our goal. So it's a good start, but we still have a ways to go. If you recall last year, we lost our title sponsor at the 11th hour and put us in serious scramble mode. So we really came to the club and asked our members and our member companies, to step up to help support the event, to help make it a success. And you did it in spades. We met our goal, actually exceeded our goal last year, and helped the event, build on the success from the first year. So this year, we kind of recalibrated our sponsorship levels a little bit. We've got 4 main levels: a naming rights sponsor, which is a $20,000 commitment, and we're open to discussing, a collaboration of a dollar amount of cash value to that, as well as in kind. We're still looking for a naming sponsor. So the big ask is, if you know of anyone that would be interested, please let us know. Let me, Jane know, let Roger know, Marty. We're happy to get in front of them and kind of talk through what the options are. A new option this year is District 356, which hopefully everybody's familiar with, right outside the Drive Stadium. That's where many of our artisans are going to be set up this year. It's going to be open to the public this year, so there's going to be tons of activity out there. It'll be a great activation for a sponsor, and that's at a $10,000 commitment. We also have a $5,000 participating sponsor and $2,500 supporting sponsor level, with many elements within the event that you can attach your name to and get some great publicity. So again, if you're interested in sponsorship options for your company, let us know. If you know any other companies in your network that might see this as a good opportunity to brand, co-brand, and to build their brand with a great community event, please let us know. Got a couple of more months before the event, so still plenty of work to do, but would love to talk to you if you have any questions.
Okay, so maybe you don't have $2,500 right there ready to give away. And we know all of you are generous and want to help out some way. So we have something called Friends of Greenville Holiday Village. So $1,000 down to $100, whatever you can do or your company can do. All you gotta go is contact us or Greenville Holiday Village. It's very easy and simple. If you have any questions, let us know, and we will be in touch with you. And it'd be so nice if you just see Greenville Holiday Village. Go ahead and be a sponsor, be a friend, and take care. And we'll meet our goal as soon as possible. Thank you all.
Okay, what a great meeting. Thank you, Jessica, so much for coming and sharing all that information about the symphony with us. Jessica has signed a book there for Alexander Elementary to be donated. Please don't forget the cart buckets. We would also like to, oh, I caught that. And also just a note, I don't remember what month Jamise came. If you all remember Jamise Bonaparte, who came, one of our Service Above Self scholars. And just to let you know, she had done research on Alzheimer's, and she has been asked to present that as a senior in college, to present that research at a conference. So that's just to let you know what great things that she is doing. Please make sure to bring some food. I saw there were a couple bags out there already today. In the newsletter, there was descriptions on what they could use. Shelf-stable food for Alexander Elementary. We'll be preparing the Thanksgiving boxes to send home with students over Thanksgiving break. And we have Health and Happiness coming up on 10/16, the last one for the year at Cartwright Hall. And 10/21, Rotary Park cleanup at 10 a.m. Okay, 10/24, that's our next meeting. Later that evening, on 10/24, that's World Polio Day. We will be joining 3 other clubs. Yes, there's a total of 4 clubs in our area at Southern Side Brewery from 5:30 to 7:30. If you can stop by, proceeds will be donated, a percentage of proceeds. I don't know what it is. I can try to find that out. We'll get it in the newsletter for you to remind you, and it will be donated to polio for that. And I think that's it. Yes, Dr. Keith Miller from Greenville Technical College is our speaker that day. Okay, if you all stand now for the 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do. Truth, is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? will be beneficial to all concerned. Meeting adjourned.